Hello, 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 hello there, beautiful woman. Have you ever wondered why you react a certain way in stressful certain situations, or excuse me, you react a certain way in certain stressful situations, or maybe you find yourself habitually attracting the same experiences that really don't bring you fulfillment, whether it be in your health, your money, your career, your love life. You just find yourself in these repeated patterns and situations. And I want you to understand that sometimes it might not just be you. It could be a pattern that was handed down to you from your mother. And today we're going to explore that in part one of this video series, where I'm talking about the fastest way to overcome pain and unfulfillment by addressing your mother wound. And so let's begin to get started. If this is the first time seeing my video, I want to introduce myself to you. My name is Oshun. I'm a divine feminine spiritual guide, transformational life coach, and board certified holistic health practitioner. And it is my mission to empower women to create joyful and fulfilling lives by tapping into their divine feminine power so that you can create success, you can create all the health, all the abundance, all of the joy or the love and satisfaction and pleasure in life that you deserve. And so if this is you, then you are in the right place. And I'm so happy to have you here on this video today to support you and to becoming and transforming into the best version of yourself. And so the problem is today is that many women are unaware that their behaviors and emotional responses are influenced by patterns that they learned or inherited early on in their life. And many times this comes from the mother line, and we call this the mother wound. And in fact, recent scientists has backed this known phenomenon, which is better known as epigenetics. And if that's your first time hearing that term, let me just explain it to you. Epigenetics is how our early experiences in life as children and growing up affect our genes and our responses, right? And so there's actually scientific evidence to prove this. And also, it can also be feel like common sense, right? If you grow up in an environment, obviously it's gonna affect you. What you need to understand is that your early experiences that you've had with your mother, that side of you, or that side that should be nurturing, loving, accepting, helping you to feel at home within your body and within yourself. Many of us never experienced that because our mother didn't experience that. And so what happened, it becomes a pattern. It becomes a pattern of us not feeling loved, not feeling accepted, not knowing our worth. And what happens is we attract all sorts of unfulfilling experiences in our lives, and we may have a bad pattern of stress because we've seen our mothers in lots of stress and overwhelmed because she was unhappy and unfulfilled in her life. And so unknowingly, we have been programmed to do the same thing. And so we just recreate that experience over and over and over and over again. And we can't understand why, no matter what we do, it doesn't change. And you may be saying to yourself, why do I always feel so stuck? Why do I feel like I can't move anywhere? Or if you find yourself in a certain experience, you may be asking yourself, why am I always reacting this way, right? And even though you're trying, it is because it is the pattern. It has been programmed into you, and you haven't really understood what is going on. You haven't taken the time to go within and to do your inner work and to clear that pattern from you so that you can begin to recreate a new experience for yourself, right? One thing I want all of you to understand as you continue to follow me and learn from me is that everything that's happening in your external world, the experiences, are a reflection of what's going on in your inner world, how you're talking to yourself, what you believe about yourself, the thoughts you have about yourself, and your life. And in order for you to change these patterns around, you have to become aware of it in order for you to change it. And so trying to change patterns and behaviors without understanding their root causes, right, is often the issue. When I was serving women in my holistic health practice and they were coming to me with these issues and concerns related to their menstrual cycle and their hormones and weight gain, oftentimes, they were going to the doctor and the doctor was giving them prescriptions because that's the fastest way to get the client or customer out of pain, right? And we don't fault them for that. The issue is they weren't addressing the root cause, right? Because in terms of understanding holistic health, we're not looking at just your physical health. We're looking at your emotional, spiritual, and mental health. And so if you don't address the root cause of your behaviors, where it's coming from on a physical, spiritual, mental level, the chances of you changing and transforming are close to none. And so, in order for you to create long lasting change, it's important that you look at your patterns, especially as it relates to your mother and how much care you received, how much love you received, how much nurture you received. All of those are deeply connected to your self esteem, your self belief. And it'll also affect your hormones and your stress levels, right? Because when you are cared for, when you're nurtured, when you're accepted, you will naturally gravitate to and recreate those experiences for yourself. You'll have boundaries that want to let you attract anything else because you've only experienced the best. But if that hasn't been your experience, then you will most likely recreate these old habits, behaviors, and patterns over and over and over again until as an adult you get sick and tired of seeing the way your life is. And this doesn't mean you might not be successful on the outside. You could be successful on the outside, but on the inside, you're just not fulfilled. You're still in pain. And if you know me and you follow me for some time, I always speak about that, how I was extremely successful in my career, had six-figure career, was doing well, and still extremely depleted and tired and not feeling like my best. And it is because I had these patterns of watching my mother and my grandmother, God rest her soul. My grandmother's no longer with us, but they had a pattern of overworking themselves, of depleting themselves, of not loving, really nurturing, and care for themselves. And this was a generational pattern that was handed down from the mothers of my mothers. And this is no negative commentary against them because I understand they had to do the things they needed to do to survive. But that pattern kept getting passed down and it passed down to me as well. And so I naturally inherited this way of being of surviving, of being uh someone who was always doing and moving fast in life and getting things done, but at the expense of my emotional well-being, my mental well-being, and physical well-being. And although I was successful in my endeavors, it didn't matter because at the end of the day, it led to this pain and unfulfillment. And so this is what I'm talking about when I say your mother wound, because if we had a mom who was too busy or too stressed to love and nurture us because she wasn't loving and nurturing herself, she wasn't taking her own needs into consideration, she didn't know her own self-worth, she unknowingly handed that pattern to you. And so this may be why, in fact, it probably is a big factor. And if you take a look at your childhood, it's a big factor into why you are repeating the same pattern today. And so in order for you to get unstuck, you have to start recognizing your pattern and begin changing your behaviors, your thoughts, your actions so that they align to the new woman and the best version of yourself that you want to be. And let me give you another example of this. I remember I had a client. She discovered that she had a tendency to always self-criticize herself all the time. It was like she had this negative self-critic voice inside of her that was always overcorrecting her, and she had a need for perfection. And I know a lot of you women who are watching this now, you're the same way. You are a perfectionist. Everything has to be just perfect, and there's nothing wrong with things wanting to be right. But the problem is when you start to drive yourself so crazy in your standards for perfection that you induce stress on yourself, and then you induce stress on others around you in your environment. And she discovered that this self-criticism pattern, upon reflection, was coming from her inner voice that was really connected to her mother. She had a very strong mother who was always correcting her. It had to be done perfect. If it wasn't done perfect, she was torn down with her mother's words. She was made to feel like she was nothing, like she was belittled. And this left a deep wound in her and a desire for her to always be perfect, to always have things just right. And if it didn't happen the way she thought it did, she became extremely flustered. And so that's an example of what I mean when I say addressing the mother wound will help you overcome your patterns of unfulfillment. And as she began to continue to work with me, she discovered this pattern, and we came up with ways to help her reprogram herself, right? To help her reprogram her thoughts and her beliefs about herself, to learn how to say positive, affirming words, and to allow her to tap more into her feminine energy, which is more about flow love, unconditional love of self and acceptance, right? Our feminine energy is all about that unconditional love, really nurturing ourselves and really knowing that all of us and all of our experience, no matter what, is perfection, right? Because we are human. And once she started to take these small steps, and it took time for this healing to happen because this was an pattern that was ingrained in her from a child, she began to feel more fulfilled. She began to relax and have more ease. And as a result, she had more, less stress in her work life and also in her relationships. She stopped criticizing her partner and the people around her and her children, and her life became more harmonious. But this all stemmed from the fact that she was able to go quiet, get within, and do that inner work. And so I'm going to stop this video here because I want to leave some more for you to think about when we go into part 2 of this video series tomorrow, where I'm going to be talking all about how do you identify these painful patterns and what are some exercises that you can do to help you start to heal the mother wound inside of you so that you can create that life of joy, fulfillment, and pleasure. And you're not always stuck, and you're not on this hamster wheel of unhappiness. So I want you to continue to live in your beauty and your light for the rest of the day. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and follow me so that you can receive more of my wonderful tips and divine feminine wisdom to help you become the best version of yourself so that you can create the abundant success, joy, love, and fulfillment that you deserve as a woman. So thank you again for watching this video. Again, subscribe and follow me, and I hope that you have an absolute amazing day.